What's up, everyone? Happy Monday, and welcome to our Franchise Empire newsletter video edition that we are doing live. You may be watching the replay, so welcome if you are. So today we're going to talk about a super solid franchise resale with about $2.5 million in recurring revenue. Actually, we have a few different franchises that we're going to go over and show you. So I'm going to share my screen right now and hit on the exact things that we are going to cover in today's live. It is just me, by the way, today. Kevin is out of the office at a conference. So it is just me today. Hello to James. Hi, James. Welcome. Hello to Matthew, first time attending. Cool. Welcome to our live video that we do. For those of you who are just tuning in, drop us a hello in the chat and where you're watching from, like what city and state. Always love to know where people are tuning in from. And sometimes we're able to spot when people are in hot markets, because there's some franchise concepts where they say, hey, here's what we've identified as the hottest markets for this specific concept. So definitely would love to be able to point that out. All right, so in this video newsletter, we're going to cover a super solid franchise resale that has $2.5 million in recurring, actually contracted revenue. We're going to cover a very, very low cost franchise that has recurring revenue. We're going to talk about some business partners that bought an semi-absentee based business. Give you a quick breakdown on that, and then the breakdown of the best franchises to buy, which was a podcast episode that we did. So I'll hit on that briefly. Oh, we got all sorts of people saying where they're tuning in from. So, hey, Calvin from California, James from Orange County, Joe from Long Island, New York. Cool. I was born in New York and Flushing, Queens, and Diane from Philadelphia. I used to live in Philadelphia. And for you California folks, I used to live in California. So we got all sorts of similarities going on here. But let's jump right in. This episode this version will probably be maybe a little bit shorter than the usual one since Kevin is not here and it's just me. By the way, let me drop a quick banner for those of you. We send out this newsletter in this exact format, and I write a blurb every week. So I don't go over it here on this live, but you can get this in your inbox for free every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Just by going to franchiseempire.com/newsletter. And you can make sure to get it in your inbox. And actually, quick hack, guys, you can actually see all of if you go to franchiseempire.com, if you want to see the past ones, you can go to Empire. So Empire Builders newsletter, this is the page where it would take you so that you can get this in your inbox every week. I think the internet's being a little bit slow here. I'm in a different office right now. Oh, okay. Anyways, if you go to resources and Empire Builder articles, it will show you, there we go, Empire Builder articles. And as long as you're clicked on newsletter articles, you can see all of the past newsletters that we've done. They're all here, which is pretty cool. And then if you want to see them, you want to get them in your inbox Sunday morning and be able to read it at your leisure, then that's by going to that franchiseempire.com/newsletter. That's still being a little bit slow, but you're literally you enter your email address, hit subscribe, and boom. All right, let's dive in. And we've got, so many people that are saying hello. So good stuff. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat and I'll do my best to hit them before we leave today. I already see a question coming in. So let's talk about this resale franchise. Pretty interesting. So this is a business called Citywide Facility Solutions. So they are a leader providing facilities management services. So think of just different buildings and businesses where they have different needs for their locations. And so this could be maintenance and or janitorial services for landlords and business owners, making it primarily a B2B sales company. They were established in 1961, but they started franchising in 2021. They have 98 franchise units throughout the country. So, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. One of our goals is to bring awareness to some of the most proven concepts. By the way, when we show these franchises, this is not necessarily an endorsement, but we find what we think are, interesting and attractive potential opportunities. You still got to do your homework and due diligence, right? But this specific opportunity is in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. The asking price is $799,000. That does include franchise fees. This location has been open for 11 years, so since 2013. It had 2023 revenue of $2.7 million. So this is obviously a very established business. And guys, one of the things that's unique about us is, we are, from what I've seen, one of the only folks in the franchise space that helps people in finding, vetting, and launching franchises that actually has a focus on resales. I mean, we've helped probably a couple dozen people at this point acquire franchise resales. It's a really important part of how we serve our clients. Monthly contracted revenue is $215,000. So this is where we got that, $2.5 million in recurring revenue. Because if you multiply the $215,000 a month of contracted revenue, that equates to about $2.5 million in sales. So pretty interesting, right? Because contracted revenue actually would supersede recurring revenue, because recurring revenue could just be, hey, someone comes in on a recurring basis and maybe they're signed up to some sort of agreement. Maybe it's just month by month, and they're going to continue paying. But contracted revenue, you could have a 2-year contract, 3-year contract, 5-year contract where it's not just month to month. So potentially attractive. This specific business has 2 salespeople, an account manager, 1 night manager, because they're providing facility solutions, and 1 part-time BDS. I'm not sure what BDS means, to be quite honest. Kevin puts this together, so I'd have to ask him. But I would imagine that's business development something, maybe. The office is in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So before we get to the rest of the newsletter, for those of you who want to, obviously, the way that the process works for resales, if you're interested, we can set up a quick, I'm trying to find the thing. Okay, here we go. If you're interested in this specific franchise, or if you want to have a free call with the team to find out and understand what franchises are, what resales are available in your area, if there are any, then you can go to franchiseempire.com/resales to inquire. So what happens is, when you inquire about, let's say that you lived in this overall area and you're like, oh, this franchise seems like an attractive opportunity. What we would do is, number one, we'd make sure that you even have the finances overall to be able to acquire this opportunity. And then we'd make that introduction to the owner and franchisor to facilitate that, so you can start your due diligence, see profit and loss statements, all that stuff. Obviously, you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, in order to see that stuff. So for anyone interested in a franchise resale, if you have at minimum $150,000 net worth or higher, doesn't need to all be liquid, then that's something that we can potentially help you with. Boom. All right, so let's move on to the next one. I see that we got a couple of questions dropping in. Keep on dropping them. And for those of you watching on Facebook, hit the little like button on the video on YouTube. It's really helpful to make sure that other people see the video. You want to be talking to if I'd reach out to you. Okay, let's stop and answer a couple of questions. I do not believe Buc-ee's is a franchise. I don't believe they are. I believe they're all corporate owned, but I don't know that for a fact. And James, would you be the one I'd be talking to if I reach out to you? Typically not. We have a whole team. We have a whole team at this point. Yeah, we do have some for our clients. We do a weekly group call where you can interact with me and people can submit questions, and we have clients that submit profit and loss statements, and so that is a weekly Zoom that we do for our clients that are specifically in our Zero to Profitable Franchise System program. But our team is epic, by the way. And James, if you've watched any of our other newsletters, and I would highly recommend you do, Kevin usually does them with me. Kevin is my business partner, Kevin and Krista, and they run the entire brokerage division of Franchise Empire. So typically you're meeting with them, one of them. All right. Franchise Empire's take. So this business is great for someone with B2B sales experience that wants a really scalable franchise with low overhead. They're looking for candidates with 10 to 20 years of business-to-business experience and at least 5 years of sales and or sales management experience. And ideally bottom line P&L responsibility, strong relationship building, and organizational skills. So this part here is, typically like the criteria for brand new candidates launching a new territory. I would imagine that because this is a resale, those requirements maybe are a little bit more flexible for this because this already has 2 salespeople, right? But overall, having that experience will help. According to the FDD, the top 25% of franchise owners have an average. Whoa, that's crazy. The top 20. Okay, it's the top 25%, but the top 25% of franchise owners have an average annual revenue of $18 million, with the median being 15.7. That is absurd. That's crazy. Okay, so keep in mind there are 98 franchise units. So now what this could by saying franchise owners, that could mean that they have multiple territories. So that may not be per territory, but still, even if you have 3 territories, those are still some crazy numbers. And at 25% of people, that's over 20 people. That's pretty insane. By the way, I know that this franchise does have new territory availability. So they mean, probably the odds of them having a resale, probably not, outside of like this specific one. But for those of you, you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory if you want our team to do a territory check to see if this specific franchise is still available in your area. Again, that's something that our team can do a free call for you to do that. So this business, they have multiple revenue streams: commercial cleaning, janitorial services, other property management services, and it really gives you an opportunity to diversify your revenue streams. And again, a lot of these are recurring or contracted revenue. So pretty cool. Purple Blue, I see your question about franchising and licensing. I'll do my best to hit it at the end, but there is a difference between the 2. Boom. I already did this whole call to action. So franchiseempire.com/resales for that. If you're interested in just kind of general territory availability of different franchises, franchiseempire.com/check territory. All right, cool. Quick client case study. So what's cool is actually Crystal and Tanisha, I actually remember taking their call about if they wanted the Zoom call with them and if they wanted to work with us. This was about 2 years ago now. And they initially came in. Here's what's interesting. They initially came in because so we're one of the only, I don't know that anyone else does this. Not only do we have like traditional brokerage services where we help people like find the franchises and go out and find opportunities for you, but we actually have a whole, service and offering where we help with the vetting. Like no one does that in the marketplace. And so sometimes we have people that have found franchises on their own, and they're coming in because they want to use our vetting tools and get access to like some of our services and how we help with that. So Crystal and Tanisha, they came in looking at a dessert, like a dessert franchise that only had like a couple locations. And immediately on the call, I told them I thought it was a terrible idea. It was not proven at all. That it's very low profit margins. The company was still probably figuring things out as they went along. They had quoted some crazy low startup costs that I didn't think were going to be realistic at all. And basically, it's like I told them that I thought it was, a terrible idea, but there's other franchises out there that I think would align with their goals. They continued on the path of doing due diligence and looking at that opportunity for a while. Fortunately, maybe not fortunately, they had knew some people in the franchise system, and things weren't exactly playing out in an ideal scenario. So they wind up deciding to pull the plug on that opportunity. By the way, guys, it's crazy how much people will reach out for help. Please don't be this person. Reach out for help. Like, hey, I want advice. I want advice from someone who's been there, done that before, right? And then you get the advice and you decide, you're like, you know what? I'm not going to implement that. It's interesting. And, I see so many times people get involved or look at franchises that are terrible ideas. It's such a bad idea. The franchise has no proven unit economics of like franchisees being successful and profitable. And you can already tell it's going to be a shit show. Excuse my language. Like once someone gets in there. So, but sometimes people, I get it. Sometimes I'm stubborn. Sometimes you got to like figure it out on your own, but like can definitely help you save a lot of time. So anyways, our team wound up actually helping her. That's Crystal, but we helped Tanisha and Crystal actually, once they pivoted off of that, we actually found them, ironically, Purple Blue, a licensing opportunity with a vending machine company that has some operators, I believe they call them, that have been very successful. And it's one of the most legitimate that you can find in that space overall. And so it's really a true like semi and more so absentee business, because what that company does, they help you find the site selections for the actual vending machine locations. And then your job is just to collect the money and make sure that that you are refilling, right? And so you can hire someone that's lower cost labor to do that. Anyways, they had joined our zero profitable franchise system, and they said, hey, I was surprised by the wealth of knowledge inside the program, all the support from the team at Franchise Empire, and that was super worth it, and to go ahead and bet on yourself. So we had never really publicly disclosed outside of like being on a call with our team how our system works. But just to show you, soon here we have ZTPF coming soon, and we're going to like display the grid of how it all works. So definitely keep an eye out on that, because it's something we've used the system for 2.5 years now. We've had a tremendous amount of success with helping our clients. Okay. Franchise of the week. This is a franchise called Duty Calls. Pretty clever, huh? Pretty clever name, Duty Calls. Okay, so the corporate location started out in 2000 in Virginia, started franchising in 2004. Looks like they were bought out as of 2021 by Authority Brands, which is Authority Brands owns a bunch of different franchise brands. They have 2 corporate territories. They have 86 franchise units. For those of you who may not have been on a bunch of newsletters or familiar, franchise units doesn't mean franchisees, because you could have franchisees that own 2-3 units, aka territories, right? So there maybe there's only like 40 franchisees that own an average of like 2.1 or 2.2 units. Franchise fees, $50,000, $49,000 flat royalty fees of 7.5%, and national marketing fee 1.5%. This is about as outside of like some of the cruise planning franchises. This is about as low as it's going to go with a brand that really has kind of a big name and backing behind it, authority brand. So investment range is between 64 grand and 83 grand. So less than $100,000 all in. And they do exactly what you think they do. So they offer exterior pet waste removal and odor control for residential and commercial customers, including, apartment complexes, commercial properties, homeowners associations, and other related services. They offer year-round, twice weekly, bi-monthly, monthly, and one-time pooper scooping services for yards of all sizes. They also provide and I would imagine this is the core of their business, waste station setup and supplies, including dog poop bags, bag dispensers, and bins. So how when you go to a park or a rest area and you see those bins where it says please clean up after your pet, and it has the bags you can take, and then it has a garbage can attached. This sort of business that's what they do. They provide those services, install it, provide the maintenance, refills, etc. So it's definitely it's a recurring revenue model overall, because people would squid lips or apartment complex as well. Exactly. But obviously it's a recurring service that you need. What's funny is we're in North Carolina right now, and the place we're staying at has a backyard with that's specifically designed for dogs. It's kind of like a dog run area. The house has all sorts of cool stuff for dogs. We brought our dog with us, and they have one of these in the backyard, which is pretty interesting and ironic. Let's talk some numbers, guys. So, one of the things, so here's our goal, by the way. We recently were working on our vision statement at Franchise Empire, and our goal is to become the most trusted authority on helping, individuals make money and improve the quality of life with franchising. And so, in the spirit of becoming the most trusted authority, because there's some people where they want to be the best and they want to be the authority. I don't think there's a ton of value in that if people don't trust you. So our goal is to earn your trust. And one of the ways to do that is to be incredibly transparent, which is one of the reasons why we do these newsletters, because you may have people out there that talk about just the big numbers, but what do the rest of the numbers look like? And the title, we'll get you with the title. We'll definitely get you with the title. But once you come in, we're going to give you the information. We're going to give you the good, bad, and the ugly. So let's talk about some of these numbers. We can see, number one, that the average gross revenue of the territories in the group, $223,000 for the average, right? And that is including. Okay, there's no fine print that was included here. And the highest gross revenue in a territory to $697,000. Now, for some of you, you may go, that's not a lot of money. $697,000 in a territory. We often, for those of you who have seen our newsletters, we've shown franchises that owners are doing $10, $12, $15 million in a territory. But what you'll see is that based on the startup cost, one of the things that we look at for our clients is, and we're always looking at, is what's the sales to investment ratio? Meaning, based on the investment that you have to make, right? The investment that you have to make, what are the average sales in terms of a multiple, and what does it look like on the high and low end? So when we look at some of the bottom 25% do an average of $37,000 in revenue. The third quartile does $81,000 on average. The second quartile averages $246,000 in revenue. What's interesting is that there are 24. They based it off of the franchisees is what the quartiles are based on, not territories. So you have most of the franchisees are in the second quartile. Most of the territories are in the second quartile, with the average gross revenue of the territories being $246,000. So let's say if you have a franchisee that owns 2 territories, like that would be what, $492,000 based on the average. Now, so your question might be, well, do I have to pay this for all new territories? The answer is no, because some of these like startup costs may be one-time cost, or for staff that when you get another territory, you don't have it. But for an additional territory, you would typically pay an additional franchise fee, which are sometimes discounted based on the number that you own. So hopefully that's helpful. So these are the numbers. Highest grossing territory, $697,000. If you only put in 64 grand or 80 grand to get it up and running, and you're getting a 10x sales to investment ratio, I think that's pretty interesting. Benefits for the franchisee: they have a nationwide call center, right? So some people ask like, should I buy a franchise? What's the benefit? Maybe I should start my own thing. Like, these are one of the benefits, right? A lot of these service-based franchises are starting to provide call centers where it's like, you don't have to hire a bunch of staff. You pay the franchisor some sort of nominal fee on a monthly basis so that, all of your calls are being routed to a call center that the franchisor oversees, which is pretty cool. So they field leads and schedule services, so you don't have to answer incoming calls or pay for someone to do that for you, right? Which is pretty cool. Low investment of, you can get one territory of 100 grand. We talked about that. They have some pretty cool territory, some fantastic software that runs the business for the franchisees. Also manages the employees and vehicles, which is pretty interesting. It's called BootNet, which is pretty funny. By the way, for those of you who want to see if this franchise or any other franchises are available in your area, you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. I just replaced the little banner below. And our team can check and see if this is available or what franchises are available for you. And has recurring revenue, right? So recurring revenue is huge. It's something I talk about in the top half of the newsletter. I talk about recurring revenue and how it can help you sell your business for more money. So if you didn't get that blurb in that email, definitely go to our website, pull up the article so you can see it, because it was, I think, pretty enlightening on how having a business with recurring revenue can help you actually sell the business for more money. The other thing is they have a super simple business model, right? And then you're a part of Authority Brands. So Authority Brands has a bunch of different other franchisor companies where you can network and get referrals from some of the sister franchise brands. And you also have opportunities to open multiple franchise brands that are under one umbrella with a company using similar systems and softwares overall. So again, we already talked about that, franchiseempire.com/check territory. Last but not least was the most recent episode of the Franchise Empire Show, where we talked about the best kind of franchises to buy in 2024. You can listen to this on whatever podcast platform that you listen to podcasts. You can watch it on YouTube. Keep in mind, we have a separate YouTube channel for podcasts. So you would type in YouTube, the Franchise Empire Show, and go subscribe to that channel. That's where you can see all of our podcasts. This is a solo podcast that I did from a live stream that we had done. Okay, in terms of really quickly hitting the difference between franchising and licensing, so every franchise is a license, but licenses are not franchises. So essentially, when you sign a franchise agreement, that is a form of a licensing agreement. But licensing on its own, I'm not going to get into like the nitty-gritty of the compliance, but generally in licensing, you cannot require someone to do things a certain way. So a franchisor may say, you have to run your business this way. You have to follow these rules. You like in our food business, like we had to be open a certain amount of days a year, and so like we could get penalized if we weren't. We were also required to use, the franchisor's logo and branding, etc. So licensing can sometimes be like, you can see it in white labeling where, someone may use someone else's systems, but brand it as their own, right? Or a good example is CrossFit. CrossFit is a licensing deal. They're not a franchise. So for any of you, if you've ever seen or been interested in CrossFit, all of the CrossFit gyms have different names. None of them say CrossFit. And they all use different systems and they operate in a different way. Personally, I think that they probably should have gone the franchise route because it's super inconsistent overall, like the delivery and experience. But I guess that worked for them. But so that's the overall simplified version of the difference between, licensing and franchising. So awesome, y'all. Well, thanks for sticking around. Make sure to subscribe before you go if you're watching on YouTube, and definitely make sure you have gone to franchiseempire.com/newsletter so that you can get these newsletters in your inbox every single week for free. All right, that's it. Y'all have a great rest of your day.